Ooh, my hands got cold. Hey there. How are you? I just had me some ice cream. Well, hey, my person's monkey, mother of Vincent LePew. Hope y'all are safe and doing well. Oh, y'all ever do that? Eat ice cream and your hands just freezing? Oh, so guys, are y'all also following Turtle Boy's demise with the courts? I think I'm gonna read his some of his stuff going of some of his stuff. I've never yeah, I mean to be honest, I think that they have spent more man hours and a lot more concern on this intimidation and what is it? Research of the ducks. You know, them trying to figure out who did the ducks. So I think I'm gonna dig some into that just because I know Turtle Boy's mouthy, but being mouthy is not a crime. So I think I'm gonna read that. So if I do read it, I'll stick it on up here so y'all can listen if you're interested. I know one thing, the story wouldn't be near as big if it wasn't for Turtle Boy, so I can say that. But what let's see. Oops. But the thing is I was reading the I don't know, because 'cause they're not really statements, but yet they were statements. They were the officers tapping into Tully. Now, and then I said, mother of Vincent LePew said, yes, apparently they could have set the second date for in October, but instead chose a date in January that will keep him away from the Karen Read second trial. I caught bits and pieces. For one, he seems very happy. Um, they all seem very positive. And if Karen Read is retried, hers is at the end of January. So, but I have many doubts and I have many questions because the FBI being involved to the degree they're involved didn't say they were finished with any investigation, have they? They haven't said we're done. We'll let you have this, this, and this. We don't need it anymore because we're finished. So I personally think that they're still digging, and while they're still digging, they're paying attention to what's going on in Canton. You know, we have Kevin Albert. He got paid 3 months paid leave while they investigated, and then yeah, them quacks. And then what was it? He got 3 days or some nonsense like that, and Tully got had to give back 5 days of vacation. So see, the feds are watching all this. I'm flabbergasted that they keep just it's like they're flaunting their corruption in the FBI's face as if they don't know what they're doing. Am I the only one that thinks that? Or is that from out of left field? Yeah, the entire thing is it's just a bullying tactic, and I love it, Mother Vincent LePew. I have wondered if I could personally order just a tremendous amount of little ducks and paint stuff on them, and then mail them, to, I don't know, CF McCarthy's, and if they'd ask them if they'd hand them out at their bar, you know? I mean, I wanna get in on that duck thing, and I'm too far away. But I mean, I literally am I'm just so curious if anybody else feels the same as I do, that they don't think they can be in trouble or held accountable, is what I see, because they let them get away with whatever, and that's so wrong. So anyway, I guess I'll do a video of just that one day, because I'm still baffled over why they never went in the house, and see if I was Alan Jackson or David Yannetti, excuse me, instead of asking them why they didn't go for a search warrant, I'd ask them why they weren't worried about the safety of the people in the house. I would take that avenue, because to me, that avenue says more than why didn't you go get a search warrant. That avenue says no one was concerned for the safety of the people in that house. Are you kidding me? Anybody else? Anybody else? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thousands of ducks. I was thinking of making T-shirts that were just nothing but little yellow rubber duckies, and then different things on the rubber duckies. And I really think that I'm fixing to do that, because we could just have a T-shirt that says "duck duck everywhere," or "here's a duck," you know, "there's a duck, now you've been ducked." I mean, I don't know. So my brain. Anyway, tonight, the reason that we're here, or I'm here, and so I can quit rambling and just looking an idiot. But I need to have a, hey, y'all just want to listen to Nana just chatter all night. You ducked up. Yeah. Hey, that's good. I'll put that on my t shirt. You ducked up. Seriously, if I don't write it down, I had my gummy, I think. Back is killing me. You ducked up. Yep, this old lady sometimes has her gummy. You legally bought in a store, by the way. Legally bought in a store. All right. And no, I never did partake of it when I was younger. But when your pain tolerance is yeah, I'm in too much pain anymore. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to y'all are gonna be so excited, I bet, to know that I'm fixing to read the narratives from the police that attended. Let's see. I got this thing pulled over so far I can't maybe I'll take this one. I'll minus these. I think I got it right. Oh, this one I gotta see what the I'm trying to find them little controllers down there. I've had to move everything on my screen. I try to get it to where I can look straight, because I tend to look over there for some reason. I don't Y'all just here to listen to me ramble anyway. Don't matter where I put my face, right? Okay, present. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to listen to Nana read? The good thing about Nana is, oh, thank you. The good thing about Nana and her reading is you can stick me in your ear and you don't have to watch a thing because I'm just going to read to you. So you don't have to see. I'm not going to, not going to change my clothes on screen. I'm not going to have any hissy fit. I'm not going to derobe. I'm not going to smoke a cigarette. Uh, I'm not going to have any fighting. I don't have any cats, so it can't be any cat fights. I do have a lazy Pomeranian that from time to time comes in and gets on the bed, but right now there's still people awake in the house, so that's where she be. All right, so with the reports that I read the other day, this was also with that group of pages. And this is Canton Police Department narrative for Sergeant Sean E. Good. And what's really funny is he's the only one that does a narrative. The other people do a supplement to the narrative. So it's kind of funny how, some things they sure are trying to be. I don't know, and I don't know when all these papers were. I honestly thought that they thought Karen Reed was a nobody, and they were just going to blame it on her, and all they had to do was say they said so. But shucks, they had to write reports and everything. All right. So this is Sean Good. On 1/29/2022, I was the patrol supervisor of the 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift. At approximately 6:04 a.m., I received emergency 911 call from a woman reporting an unresponsive male party found in the snow at 34 Fairview Road. At the time, the weather was very heavy snow with air temperatures in the teens. The call was then transferred to Canton Fire, and I dispatched Officer Seraph and Mullaney to assist. I notified Lieutenant Gallagher and Detective Sergeant Lank respectfully after hearing the seriousness of the call. Here's where Nana interjects. No, he notified them because of the location of the call. If John O'Keefe would have been, well, no, I can't say that because I was going to say if John O'Keefe was found 5 doors down on not a person that they knew's yard, things would have been handled different. Now, they may have called them because of the seriousness of the call, but in this particular case, I guarantee you it was simply because it was at 34 Fairview. I'm not gonna get over that, and when one of them called back, I think it was Gallagher that called back. I played it over and over, I can't remember whose name it was. But he called back to verify what was going on Fairview Road because Lieutenant wanted to know, and Ellie told him it was on 32 Fairview Road, and he said, "Oh, good, it's not even at his house or at his property." Because we already know that he was already thinking of Brian Albert. He didn't say, "Oh, good, it was down the street from my mother." His mind immediately was at Brian Albert's. Question is, when was he forewarned this was going to happen? I don't know if anybody ever checked anybody's phones before. Who knows? Sorry, that I'll try not to do it again. Once on scene, the victim was already in the back of the ambulance. CPR was in progress. I was met by McCabe Jennifer, Roberts Carrie, and Reed Karen, standing outside of the ambulance. All of the parties will be referred to by their first names going forward. Jennifer introduced herself to me and explained that they found their friend O'Keefe John lying unresponsive on his back in the snow. Jennifer explained that they arrived at this address because it was the last place Karen, John's girlfriend, believed he would be. Jennifer stated that she had gotten a call from Karen around 4:53 a.m. inquiring about John's whereabouts. She told Karen she didn't know where he was. I asked Jennifer, why would she think you would know where he was? Jennifer explained that a group of them had been at the Waterfall Grill and Bar in Canton earlier in the night. At about 12 a.m., Jennifer and her husband left the bar, heading to her brother-in-law, Brian Albert's house at 34 Fairview Road. Jennifer stated that Karen and John were at the bar together at around 12:14. John texted Jennifer asking where they were going. Jennifer invited them to 34 Fairview Road. It's kind of a short time later, Jennifer stated, okay, guys, this is important right here. This is important right here. We didn't hear about this during the trial. A short time later, Jennifer stated she saw Karen and John pull up in their car and saw the passenger door open, but they never came in, and she saw the car drive off. Jennifer just thought they'd changed their mind and went home for the night. See, this is in the beginning before they had time to all get together and say a bunch of stuff. She made this statement. At one point that she was speaking to Sean Good, Jennifer stated she saw Karen and John pull up in their car and saw the passenger door open, but they never came in, and she saw the car drive off. Why weren't we banging that one down there? Because that was very close to when it happened. And this isn't something I think Sean Good would just pull out of his hat. So why did that story change? I had to take a drink. One moment. It's hard to know where Jen was standing, whether it was the front door or the windows, because you know she jumped around so much in her explanation. I don't know, but the point is her statement that I mean, no, it doesn't say verbatim, but this particular statement here means that she made a statement just real close to it. A short time later, Jennifer stated she saw Karen and John pull up in their car and saw the passenger door open, but they never came in. We didn't discuss that in the trial. Did we? Did we discuss that and I miss it? Because if so, you can't blame Mr. Yannetti and Mr. Jackson for not picking up on every little bitty inkling of lying going on here because there's so much. There's so much speculation. There's so many things that I think, yeah, I really should. But the problem is, um, she had too many written statements. No, she had too many testimonies to put up the different statements, Mother Vincent LePew. So to do a split screen of her spoken testimony and the statements, we would have to have um, that would take a lot of work because you'd have to find all the different statements because she was always jamming herself up, and she herself didn't know what she said for what place, and, and nobody found that suspicious. I mean, you have to remember where the statement was made so you can remember which elaboration of the story you were on. I mean, it's like she must have been studying for this for months because if you're in this specific scenario, the answer is this. But if you're in this really closer scenario, but this little twist on it, well, then the answer is this. I mean, Good Lord Almighty. But I just can't remember them ever saying that, so I'm gonna say it one more time. Jennifer stated, this is Officer Good is writing this. Jennifer stated that she saw Karen and John pull up in their car and saw the passenger door open, but they never came in. Then we've got another statement from Jennifer Reed. I mean, oh God, please forgive me. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Ugh, from the McAlbert. We have another statement, or two actually, because we have another statement that says it was in a dark SUV, and another statement that says she doesn't know how to describe cars and doesn't know the make of them. Now, I'm kind of iffy when it comes to, like, I couldn't tell you looking at a car if it was a Ford or um, uh, GMC, or I can't just look at them, but I can tell the difference between a car and a truck, and I can tell the difference between a SUV and a car and an SUV and a truck. Most generally, I'm real good at knowing the Jeeps different from the cars. So for her to sit there and say, "Oh, I don't know cars," but then in the other one said it was a dark SUV, and then to say, "Oh, I don't know cars." I mean, your head just about swims, at least mine does. Okay, let me see if I can do this without just talking so loud much. I hope I'm not talking too loud. Now, this I found interesting where I put it up. I walked over to Karen and asked her who she was and how she ended up here. I also placed Karen in the back of my marked Cruiser 682 to warm up. We saw this all on video, and we never ever saw Jen McCabe in the vehicle with her, as she claims she was in the vehicle with her. Karen was hysterical and continually yelling, "Is he dead?" I kept reassuring her that Canton Fire was doing everything they can to save his life. I asked how John ended up there, and she stated, "I don't know." I asked her if she drove here last night, and she stated, "I think so." Then I can't remember. At this point, I stopped asking her questions because she was too upset and she was unable to keep her train of thought. Wow, go figure. So at this point in time, this police officer felt it was just of no use to be asking Karen Reed any questions because she was too upset and she was unable to keep her train of thought. So, might I please ask the DA, why in the world, when everyone that saw Karen Reed at the scene basically says the same thing, are y'all going to hold a statement that only two people supposedly heard her say and the others overheard Katie McLaughlin telling them that she said, "I hit him, I hit him, I hit him"? I'm sorry, it makes no sense. I'm sorry that y'all how y'all got this to trial. I'm still baffled. I mean, come on, Governor Healy, where you at? Where you at, Governor Healy? I'm getting to where you know, your state is becoming a laughing stock of America. You truly are becoming a laughing stock of America. So I had to throw that in there. FBI Josh Levy, I just know that he's going to be doing more good, and I hope he's cleaning house. I hope he gets every last one of you. I hope he does, because everybody thinks Karen Reed is the reason for the investigation. They're too blind to understand they are the reason for the investigation. They are corrupt. They had an investigation going before this, I bet you. It wouldn't surprise me if well, okay, I've got to read this. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry because I keep going. So, anyway, he he knows she's too upset. Okay, this is right when they're there. She wasn't there that long before they sent her away. So at this point, I stopped asking questions because she was too upset and she was unable to keep her train of thought. All right. At this time, Detective Sergeant Lank arrived on the scene and I briefed him on what had transpired so far. I then spoke to Carrie, who stated she was contacted by her friend Karen around 5 a.m., wondering if she knew where John was. Carrie stated she called a few hospitals and Canton police to see if he had been transported at some point during the night. Then Carrie picked up Jennifer and Karen and they began to search for John, ending up here at 34 Fairview. Canton Fire began to transport the victim to Good Samaritan, and Karen, who was now sitting in Carrie's car, began to act out, yelling and screaming, "Is he dead?" and trying to get out of the car and walk around. At this time, I advised Carrie to take Karen home and that she was not needed anymore. Moments later, I was contacted by dispatch that Karen was making the S word thoughts statements to her father over the phone. I made the decision to have Carrie bring Karen back to the scene and had her transported to the hospital via Section 12. So, Officer Good ordered the Section 12. Detective Sergeant Lank at this time contacted the homeowners at 34 Fairview Road and completed a supplemental report. I don't know what time that was. What time was this? What time was this? What time was this? Curious to know what time that was. It's somewhere, so I'm doing this so I remember to write down that I want to know what time that was because it's just, how the stories are progressing because I firmly believe that everybody planned on blaming Lucky. The problem is that everything had to change, snap to, turn around, get made, created immediately as fast as can be because Karen woke up and sadly went to look for Officer John O'Keefe. I wouldn't say sadly if it would have made a difference and he would have been saved, but in this situation, sadly. So, Detective Sergeant Lank at this time, yeah, I went into them. All right. I spoke with Officer Saraf and asked him what he observed arriving first on scene. Saraf stated he saw a woman, Karen, attempting CPR on a victim in the snow. Saraf stated Karen had blood around her mouth, which he believed was from the victim's mouth and nose area. Saraf explained seconds later, Canton Fire arrived on scene. They took over medical care and moments later I arrived. Um, I guess that's it for Officer Good. That that was all. That y'all, that was it. Okay, so woo, now we're gonna move on to Steven Seraph. His looks pretty long here, doesn't it? I mean, I can lean down and it just looks like an ever-lending white. On 1/29/2022, I was dispatched to 34 Fairview Road for a report of an unresponsive party in the snow. When I arrived, I saw three people on the ground over the victim, O'Keefe, waving at me. They said he was not breathing. They were performing CPR on O'Keefe. I noticed Karen Reed, the victim's girlfriend, had blood on her face from doing mouth to mouth. O'Keefe was bleeding from his face. I went over to the victim and felt the skin. It was cold to touch. I asked if he was a drug user, and they said no. He's a Boston cop. I went to get my AED from my patrol vehicle, and at the same moment the Canton Fire Department was arriving. CFD took over the care of Mr. O'Keefe. Following that, Karen Reed kept screaming, "Is he dead? Is he dead?" She was severely distraught and was not able to tell me what happened. I tried to console her and to keep her out of the inclement weather. I had her sit in one of the cars. Sergeant Good arrived and started speaking to the parties that were there. There's another one that says, she was so distraught, she couldn't say what happened. Now we have Michael Lank, Buddy Mikey. Buddy Mikey. All right, on 1/29/2022 at 6:08 a.m., I was contacted at home by Sergeant Sean Good. Sergeant Good advised me that a male party had been found in the snow by the area of 34 Fairview Road. Sergeant Good stated that the party involved, who is a Boston police officer, was in grave condition and Canton EMS was on scene. The conditions at this time were blizzard-like with heavy snow, wind, and freezing temperatures. Please remember, everyone, the snow maybe had been falling. Maybe you had 4 to 6 inches on the ground at this time at 6 a.m. It starts dumping major. But right now, you don't have whiteout conditions. You have bad weather, but at approximately 6:24 a.m., I arrived on scene at 34 Fairview Road. Sergeant Good, Officer Seraph, and Officer Mullaney had already spoken to multiple witnesses, and the victim was being treated in the ambulance by Canton EMS. The ambulance left for Good Samaritan Hospital shortly after I arrived. Sergeant Good made me aware that the officers and EMTs told him that the victim was bleeding from the nose and mouth. They also stated that he appeared to have swelling above one of his eyes. So let me just say, Lank arrived. So I wonder if it was Officer Lank that called to ask and realized and said, oh, good, it wasn't even at his house. Hmm. All right. The first person that I spoke to was Jennifer McCabe. Isn't that amazing, y'all? She seems to be able to just answer everything for everybody. I mean, you would think finding your friend dead in the snow, you'd be a little more upset than you were. Of course, by the time she went to her sister's house, she became frantic, if I'm not mistaken. Brian Albert said that she was screaming or something. So, hmm, excuse me, y'all. If I sit there and try to eat that butterscotch, well, it's not butterscotch, it's caramel. I can't do that. My apologies. So, I just find it so funny that nobody picks up on this and everybody thinks that we're just picking on poor Jennifer. Jennifer's all over this and she's not telling the truth, so I can understand why people are asking her to tell the truth. What's wrong with asking somebody you believe is lying to tell the truth? I'd say nothing. I thought I had still a flavor on there, but I didn't. I was gonna have me some more. I like that caramel. The first person I spoke to was none other than Jennifer McCabe. She was so happy to provide us with general timeline. She had it going on, y'all. Jennifer was at Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton with her husband Matthew McCabe, Brian Albert brother-in-law, Nicole Albert's sister. At approximately 11 p.m., they were accompanied at the bar by O'Keefe John and his girlfriend Reed Karen. See, they do know how to follow some things. Look how they're writing. Is there somebody talking to me? That was weird. Sorry, guys. I thought somebody has cracked my door open. So, probably my dog. But then I heard something. Okay, I apologize. Um, Approximately 12 a.m., Jennifer, Matthew, Brian, and Nicole left the bar and went back to the Alberts house at 34 Fairview. At approximately 12:14 a.m., O'Keefe texted Jennifer and asked where they were going. Jennifer responded that they were going to 34 Fairview. Moments later, a vehicle pulled up in front of the house, which Jennifer believed was O'Keefe and his girlfriend Reed. She observed as the vehicle just sat in front of the house for several minutes. The vehicle was facing uphill with the passenger's side facing the house. She thought that the vehicle sat outside for at least 15 minutes. McCabe stated that neither party ever came to the door and ultimately the vehicle drove away. She attempted to text O'Keefe but never got a response. Approximately 1:30 a.m., McCabe and her husband leave the house and give a ride home to Julie Nagel. At that point, y'all see, um, they only listed Julie Nagel. They didn't list Sarah Levinson. Approximately 4:53 a.m., McCabe was contacted by Reed and Furbush. Oh, my apologies. That was not on purpose. Okay. Approximately 4:53 a.m., McCabe was contacted by Reed and the niece of John O'Keefe. They were distraught because O'Keefe never arrived home and was not answering his phone. McCabe and Reed attempted to call some of O'Keefe's close friends, including Robert's Carey. Approximately 5 a.m., Roberts picks up McCabe and Reed to go looking for O'Keefe. Approximately 6 a.m., Roberts, McCabe, and Reed locate O'Keefe in the yard of 34 Fairview. He was located on the left side of the yard, about 8 feet from the street. He was found unconscious on the ground, laying on his back. Roberts began to perform CPR. At approximately 6:04 a.m., 911 call was placed to Canton Police Station. Officers on scene were able to secure the scene as best they could. We're not even going to go there with that comment. As the weather conditions continued to be severe, and living in Massachusetts, you would never know how to act in a storm. I know what to do in a hurricane. I don't know what to do in a snowstorm. So I would expect just the same of you folks up north to know what to do in a snowstorm and not know what to do in a hurricane. So let me just point this out. While on scene, my arm itches, all attempts to speak with Reed were unsuccessful. She was hysterical and difficult to control. The entire group of people that dealt with Karen Reed all state she was hysterical, she was loud, she was screaming the same things over and over and over, she couldn't concentrate. Basically, she's in shock. All of what one would expect if you just found your loved one dead in the snow. How did they ever get this to court with, she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. If you can't get anything out of her, if she's not making sense, if she is so hysterical and you can't control her, but yet you're gonna claim that she said, "I hit him, I hit him, I hit him," and meant exactly what she said. Come on, folks. That is weaker. That's weaker than a frog that spotted the fly. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say. That is so weak. Okay, I apologize. The only statement that she was able to relay to Canton officers while on scene was that she did not remember ever being at 34 Fairview. Y'all, I'm not so sure I buy that. I'm not so sure that I buy that she didn't remember coming to 34 Fairview, because didn't she tell the police? I mean, didn't she make a statement somewhere that, she pulled up, waited, he got out, he was supposed to let her know whether to stay. She looked down at her phone. That statement's someplace. But I mean, come on. They just try to point out some of the stuff that, plants a little seed of question. You can't listen to her on anything else. She's not making sense on anything else. But she did remember that she didn't remember whether she had been to 34 Fairview Road. Reed later made statements via telephone to her parents of self harm. Canton EMS ultimately responded back to the scene, and Reed was taken to the hospital under Section 12 order. Next, I went to 34 Fairview Road and spoke with the homeowners, Brian Albert and Nicole Albert. Both parties from this point forward will be referred to by their first names. Brian stated that they had seen the victim at Waterfall Bar and Grill, had spoken to him. He stated he did not know the party well, but he knew that he was a friend of Jennifer McCabe. That's his sister in law. Brian and Nicole recall that the victim had been welcomed to their house, but he never arrived. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that I think that he made a statement at one point that he didn't know they'd been invited to his house. Does anybody remember that? Let me see. I gotta find that because I gotta highlight it. Brian and Nicole recall the victim had been welcomed to come to their home. Yep, sure enough, right here, Brian and Nicole recalled that the victim had been welcomed to their home but never arrived. So there was one of them. I've got to find it. All right, there's my. You'll have to excuse me. Then I get upset because I can't make it perfect because it's kind of like those signatures on a iPad thingy nowadays where it just looks horrible. And then I sit here and try to color it in. It's like, ooh, first grade color. Let's go, Nana. Get my 3-year-old grandbaby in here. She'll probably do better than me right there. All right, that bothers me. That bothers me right there. That bothers me. But there was a statement where they um, sat in court and said they didn't know that he had been invited, but had he come, he would have been welcome. This says Brian and Nicole recalled that the victim had been welcomed to come to their house, but he never arrived. When asked about O'Keefe's demeanor or if O'Keefe had any altercations with anyone earlier at the bar, Brian said that he seemed to be fine at the bar and there were no issues whatsoever. Matthew McCabe, husband of Jennifer, also stated that he had observed the vehicle pull up out front of the house, but never saw either party get out of the vehicle. Matthew also reiterated what Brian said. O'Keefe seemed to be fine at the bar and that there was really nobody else in the establishment other than their group. Next, I asked Brian and Nicole who else was at the house that night, aside from the names already mentioned. The following people were present at some point during the time in question. You notice how they worded that? Next, I asked Brian and Nicole who else was at their house that night. Aside from the names already mentioned, the following people were present at some point during the time in question. Brian Albert Jr., Brian and Nicole's son, Caitlin Albert, daughter, Julie Nagel, Brian Jr.'s friend, and Brian Higgins, who is friends of Brian Albert Sr. The uh, okay, they got Julie Nagel. They left out what's her name? Is it Sarah? The nurse. I think they left the nurse off of there. Um, wow. Let's see. So they advised me that their daughter Caitlin left the house around 12:15 when she was picked up by her boyfriend Tristan Morris. Now, see, that wouldn't make very much sense, would it? Because if they just got home around 12, by 12:15 her boyfriend is there to pick her up. That timeline is off. All right. While still on the scene, Lieutenant Gallagher, Sergeant Good, and I attempted to retrieve as much evidence as possible given the weather conditions. Are you shitting me? Lieutenant Gallagher will forever be known as the leaf blower to blow away the top layers of snow. But when he did so, he was able to observe a broken drinking glass and multiple patches of red, which appeared to be frozen blood drops. I can't help myself, but right here I have to say, he was able to use a leaf blower to blow away the top layers of snow. Once he did that, there were blood droplets. Where those blood droplets were should have been measured. It should have been because they only go down so deep and they're frozen. I mean, almost as soon as the droplets would hit the snow, they're gonna freeze. So you can tell me all day long that Officer O'Keefe was found under 5 inches of snow if you would like. But it's impossible for him to have not been found on the same level as the blood droplets because the blood droplets aren't going to jump up off his body and make sure they land on a top layer of snow 10 minutes after he falls down. So come on, folks. His blood droplets, where they were, tells you how long he had been out there. Use your brain. But you didn't even try to use your brain with that either. You could only have dug so far down and there wouldn't have been any more blood. because it's only gonna have gone down just a little bit, just a little bitty bit. It's droplets of blood soaks into the snow, but as it's going, it's freezing. How far do you think it did? But we do know one thing, it was frozen at that point. As it began to snow more, it was still frozen. It was frozen. So then the snow came down and the leaf blower blew and blew a little bit away. But the blood that was still on the top, how far up was that? I don't know how else to explain it, y'all. I probably sound like a bloomin' idiot, but that bothers me. So, yeah, Mother of Vincent LePew, and she did say that he was face down and they turned him over. My my question is, if in fact she said he was face down, could she have gotten the 2 times she saw John O'Keefe in the snow mixed up? Right, so, I mean, it's gonna be on the top, that's what's so crazy, and then from anything from there, they keep trying to say he was there the whole time after Karen Reed left, but when she left, the snow was barely starting to stick to the ground. Just the amount of snow that fell between the time she left and the time John O'Keefe was put in that snow is a big difference. It's a big difference. It's impossible for him to have been laying on top of the snow very well if Karen Reed had hit him. Isn't that funny? The lab found 3 DNA blood samples that are not John's, but what'd they do? That's it? They don't care? Nobody else was tested? That's insane, my person's monkey. Oh my god. But am I making sense what I'm saying about the blood? To me, that disproves, Commonwealth too, because it's not gonna, like, jump up from him and dart to the top, and it's not gonna have made it all the way down. Oh, on his pants? Oh, bless his heart. Well, all they got were little bits and pieces, so alright, let me see, I'm so sorry, guys, I should just stick to this, let's see, uh alright. While still on scene, Lieutenant Gallagher, Sergeant Good, and I attempted to retrieve as much evidence as possible given the weather conditions. Lieutenant Gallagher was brilliant. I mean, no one else would come up with such ingenious measures. He was able to use a leaf blower to blow away the top layers of the snow because you understand it was freezing. And if he didn't blow the layer off right then and get to that droplet of blood in the snow, well, my goodness, it was gonna melt. That literally came out of somebody's mouth on the town on the committee to have the, police audit literally said that. I was like, "Oh my god, you cannot be that stupid." Ingenious. You don't want the evidence to melt or go away. Anyway, so the ingenious Canton PD people who make more money than most people ever see, and don't know how to work a crime scene. This is saying a lot. So they were very proud that they were able to observe a broken glass and multiple patches of red, which appeared to be frozen blood drops. 6 samples of this substance was retrieved by using plastic, no, I'm sorry, red Solo plastic cups. It's very, very, very proud of that. And the broken glass was retrieved and it was bagged into evidence, meaning there was a Stop and Shop bag that the yahoo across the street gave them for gathering of the evidence. That's where the Solo cups came from too, and because we couldn't go into the house where the man was actually on the yard dead, because what if they were in the house dead? Then we'd have more dead bodies that we'd have to check on, and quite frankly, we can't handle one. So that's their excuse that they didn't go check on the residents of the home, because I would think if you found someone dead in the front yard or as close to dead as you're going to be until you are pronounced dead, you're not dressed accordingly. You don't have a shoe on one of your feet. You look like you've been in a fight, which we did hear that was said at some point. So initially, when the cops saw him, he looked like he'd been beat up. It was only after all these other people talked to them that he no longer looked beat up. He looked like the car backed into him. Like, so anyway, there we go, right? There we go. I would have just figured that, I don't understand all the fighting about why didn't you go for a search warrant. I would have been hammering them what, it would have been a problem to go see if the people in the house were dead or alive. I mean, would that have been a problem? I wouldn't think that'd be a problem. I think that if I was that homeowner and I was sound asleep in my room, as they so claimed, and someone was laying on my front yard dead, I would expect the police to come in my house to make sure I was alive. If I have nothing to hide, nothing to fear, and I've done nothing wrong, why in the hell would I even consider a warrant? Why would I even think about a warrant? I have a dead man in a front yard. I need to know if there's any other dead people in that house. But then again, Nana's gonna use her sarcasm, and quite frankly, they can't handle one dead person, how would they have handled any more? So, that I guess that would be the excuse if David Yannetti were to ask them, "Why wouldn't you have thought to go in the house just to check on the residents? Forget the fact he's missing a shoe. Forget the fact he's got a broken glass that you may could trace to in the house. Forget he has on no jacket. Would you not I mean, how do you forget all that? How do you forget all that? And furthermore, how do you walk out past all that? So, yeah, y'all make and y'all think y'all are gonna do this a second time. Whatever fluting that y'all are paying $1,000,000 flipping dollars to, truly $1,000,000 flipping dollars to prosecute an innocent woman. You're going to lose the case because Karen Reed is not guilty. So I'm just saying, I would be bringing a lot of this stuff up. I mean, that guy that was on the stand, oh, one of the cops was almost belligerent. I believe it was with, I think it was with Jackson. I mean, who knows? But when he asked why, maybe it was Janetti, because he asked him why he didn't get a search warrant. He said, I didn't have cause or reason or what. Yeah, you do. You have a dead man in a front yard inappropriately dressed. But why bother asking him that? My next question is not, did you search the house? It would have been, did you secure the house? Did you go in the house and make sure everybody was alive? I would have been afraid the house was full of dead people. I mean, Jen McCabe had no fear walking in that door. She knew her sister was okay. She knew everybody in that house was okay because she had no concern, didn't need escorted. Nobody seemed to bombard that house as if anybody could have been a victim. But if there's a dead person on your yard, I would think that the cops are going to come in your house just to make sure you're not dead. If they wake you up coming in, Then they'll ask, "Are you okay?" And then I guess you can tell them to get out or go or whatever. But if you've got nothing to hide, why would you? So, all right. This is good. At approximately 9 a.m., I was contacted. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 minute. Man, get dry, but I don't want to sound loud drinking. All right. Lieutenant Gallagher. Oh, I'm sorry. At approximately 9 a.m., I was contacted at the police station by Jennifer McCabe. She asked if it was possible to come back to 34 Fairview Road and speak with her. Lieutenant Gallagher and I both left immediately. After all, a McAlbert called, and we arrived at 34 Fairview within moments. McCabe told us that she recalled something that she was not sure if we were aware of. She said that when Reed was driving around with her and Roberts looking for the victim, she said something to the effect of, "I hope I didn't hit him." It's a good time for me to ask at 9 a.m. when she remembered that, and it was so important that he come back to the house. Jennifer McCabe did not say, I heard her say, "I hit him, I hit him, I hit him." Did she? Nope. McCabe told us that she made these statements again at the scene when the victim was discovered. She thought that Reed may have made these statements in front of a police officer, but she was not sure. On 2/4/2022, I was working 8 a.m., 4 p.m. shift as the detective sergeant. At approximately 8:50 a.m., I was contacted by Lieutenant Gallagher, who advised me that Chief Berkowitz was at 34 Fairview Road and possibly had discovered more evidence. We are now February the 4th. February the 4th. Detective Taylor and I drove to the scene at 34 Fairview Road and met with Chief Berkowitz. He directed our attention to the area where O'Keefe had been discovered. And everybody gets to guess where that is because they didn't mark it. I was able to observe a red broken piece of hard plastic which appeared to have been broken off of a motor vehicle light fixture. The temperature overnight had reached 45 degrees with heavy rains, which melted much of the snow from the storm on Saturday. This revealed much of the area that had originally been covered in deep snow. I photographed the broken plastic as it was in the snow, and I will attach it to this report. State Police CPAC unit was notified and responded to the scene. Trooper Bukaki arrived and secured the item into evidence. I bet he did. Now, folks, y'all get ready. This is a big one. This is supplemental narrative for Stephen Mullaney. Get ready. Get ready. Hold your hats. Hold your hats. Look, it's longer than, ah, that's it. All right. I was just teasing y'all, making you think there was some goody goodies here. On Wednesday, January 29th, 2022, I, Officer Mullaney, was assigned to the patrol, the East Sector, for the 11:45 p.m., 7:45 a.m. patrol shift. At approximately 6:05, Officer Saraft and I were dispatched to 34 Fairview Road for a report of an unresponsive party. Upon my arrival, Canton FD was arriving on scene. Officer Saraf had already been on scene. When I exited my cruiser, I observed a female party attempted CPR on the victim in the snow. As I approached the victim, Canton Fire Department began CPR. I then assisted Canton Fire Department with lifting the victim on to a stretcher. The victim was then taken by stretcher to the ambulance. I'm going to assume after that, the ambulance probably was driving to the hospital, but as Lowley had to ask who, if anyone, might be driving it. At this time, Officer Seraph asked me to assist in getting witnesses' information. I then spoke to McCabe Jennifer. I asked McCabe who the victim was, and she identified the victim as O'Keefe John. McCabe then explained to me that a group of people had gone out to Waterfall Grill and Bar in Canton earlier in the evening. Jennifer stated that she and her husband had left the bar at about 12 a.m. and went to her brother-in-law's house at 34 Fairview Road. McCabe told me that O'Keefe and his girlfriend Reed, Karen, were invited to 34 Fairview Road but never arrived. I asked McCabe if she possibly knew how long the victim had been where he was found, and she told he was dropped off by Reed sometime between 12 and 1. I asked McCabe if she possibly knew how long the victim had been where he was found, and she told he was dropped off by Reed sometime between 12 and 1. That doesn't fit the rest of her stories where she's saying that she didn't even remember going to 34 Fairview. Jennifer McCabe had told the cops that Karen Reed didn't even remember going to 34 Fairview. Right here, she just said that Karen Reed had told her he was dropped off between 12 and 1. McCabe then told me that she was called by Reed at approximately 5 a.m., wondering if she knew where John was. At this time, Sergeant Good arrived on the scene, and the victim was transported to Good Samaritan shortly after. While talking to McCabe, Reed was hysterical and distraught and repeatedly screamed as he did, and that's my boyfriend. Sergeant Good then advised Roberts Carey to take Reed home. After Reed and Roberts left, Camp Control advised officers that Reed was making self-harm threats to her father. Reed was then brought back to the scene where Sergeant Good asked me to fill out the Section 12 paperwork, and she was transported to Good Samaritan Hospital. I stayed on scene and assisted Sergeant Good, Detective Sergeant Lake, and Lieutenant Gallagher. Wow. Exactly, Mother of Vincent LePew. Karen and Carrie left, and Jen stayed on the scene. Yeah. I mean, she had to go visit with her sister. And, so everybody keeps talking about they were invited to the party at 34 Fairview. So, well, not they, Jennifer. Carrie wouldn't have known. And Karen wasn't making any sense. So Jennifer told him the party had been in the house. And she had been there, but they didn't come to the party. See, that's kind of troublesome, isn't it? Kind of weird. So anyway, that was the next in line of my portion of what I found. I don't know if this has ever been read out. I don't know if it's anything anybody cares about, but I'm finding just in these statements, granted, these are not verbatim, But some of these statements that these police officers wrote in there, the meaning doesn't change. Uh, there are conflicting already, yet they're gonna pin it on the girl. So that's really what's going on, folks. They're gonna pin it on the girl. Hmm. Well, I'm trying to think. Um, I'm trying to think of what I have next because I don't think I have anything, any papers. Well, I have some. I think I need to find the arrest. I also have the one where in January of 2024, where they wanted Aiden's phone and Karen's phone to say that they were in cahoots. They've been talking, and we're trying to prove some type of I don't know shenanigans, and there's none to be seen. But my thing is, even if let's say Karen Reed was speaking to Aiden, what's wrong with that? He's a reporter. She's screaming corruption. Corruption is surrounding her. Corruption surrounds the little protective mode that she has is just her and her attorneys. The rest of it's all corruption. So, what would you do? How would you get attention? What would you do that would make it any different? I mean, what would you do? Scream to the highest hilltop. Scream as loud as you possibly can. When one person is willing to help you, lend an ear. If you listen to Aiden Kearney, he said that originally that started out, it was just your typical, he's doing an article. A girlfriend backed over and killed her boyfriend and turned into something else. It turned into, oh, no, she didn't. This woman's being framed. And the more you dig, you find out this town is being run by the most corrupt, vile humans I've ever seen. So all I have to say is Karen Reed has to win because if she doesn't win, there's no help for the rest of us. And we know she's innocent. I don't know where the governor is and all this, but she needs to care about her people. And I don't know how in the world you let um, bad cops investigate complaints about other bad cops. No, I have not, and I should. I've been so busy, and thank you for where's my note? I have a note. The reason I was supposed to take my grandson shopping today for a chair, and I had my daughter, she's his aunt, not his mom, not said, "Hey, are you fixing to leave?" I was like, "For what?" I was fixing to get on the computer. Mm-mm. Yep. Yep. But I did find a list. I have not called Department of Justice, but I will say I have done some I've done some other videos Yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to say that too. I hope you're feeling better. But I've done some other videos where I've called out um, all kinds of news stations, investigative news stations, the governor, the attorney general, a whole bunch of different ones. And I've started tagging them in my, not that I'll mean anything, but you never know. Maybe they'll see it. Okay. Yeah, I wrote it down now. It's written over here somewhere. See, if I've got like 3 notebooks going for this one thing, and then I have like 3 that I've already filled up and they're just done. Oh, well, I have a platform that I hope to tell people, but yeah, I've got it written down, and tomorrow is I got hot all of a sudden, and tomorrow is Friday, so I still can. It just believe me when I say it, it's been just I don't know where the week has gone. I just don't. My husband did something really weird, and instead of taking a Sunday through Sunday vacation, he did like a Tuesday through Thursday vacation, and I've been all messed up ever since. Or Tuesday through Wednesday. I don't know. I think the vacation was a week before. See y'all. I'm sorry. That's why when I told my daughter to remind me I was taking my grandson to buy a chair, a gaming chair, and she said, "Well, put it on your calendar." And I said, "Well, if we've got a couple problems, I don't have a calendar for one. For two, I can't remember what day I'm on, so it doesn't help me." So I guess it would if it meant anything, but yeah, I've got it in my notes, so I will check on the DOJ, and I need to I've got to figure out how to use my community tab because I could put stuff on there too about anything that I find out about how we could maybe help the people in Canton. So I'm so sorry that you haven't felt good. It's awful when you don't feel good. But folks, I think I'm going to let that go. I've got to figure out what comes next. And like I said, I think I'm going to have the bill of particulars on Aiden Kearney. And what I find so interesting is how in depth these people go. How about that? They sent someone to start investigating in May of 23 only? Hmm. Well, the one thing we do know about FBI, though, once they get involved and they stay sticking around and they're still digging, it's not good for the people that are thinking that they're getting by with stuff. So, like I'm going to say again, I think it's crazy these people think that, I mean, the FBI hadn't gone anywhere yet. They hadn't said they've done, finished, or anything. And, they have to be asking themselves just how dirty is a DA when you've been given information by the FBI that basically cleared the person you were trying to frame. Did they not get it? This new prosecuting whatever, does he not get that? I don't know. Now, I will say, if I read Turtle Boy's stuff, there's going to be some things that I don't necessarily agree with that he said. There's probably gonna be some things that I'm not gonna necessarily believe agree with that he did, but I don't think any of it's worth going to prison for or having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Exactly, Mother of Vincent LePew. Karen Reed, what happened to her? I mean, John O'Keefe basically is a hero, isn't he? Because if John O'Keefe wouldn't have been killed in this manner and they wouldn't have tried to frame Karen Reed, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Canton wouldn't be anything I've ever heard of. They'd still be getting trampled on, and people like Bob barking to women like they're, should be barefoot, pregnant, and out back tending to the hogs or something. That's what he acted like. I'll tell you what, he's disgusting. Maybe he does sleep out with the pigs. That's where he should. If he's married, I'd have got bought me a hog and a hog pen, and I'd have got the best mud, the filthiest stuff. I'd have poured it all out there in slop, made that pig just happy as can be. And then when my husband came home, after I saw his display in public to a woman, to women, to people talking like that, that's where he'd be until he straightened up. That or he could move on down the road. But you know what's sad? What's sad is that kind of jerk, that kind of asshat, he talks to his family just like that. And guess what's even worse? If he has any sons, they're going to do the same. hmm I did notice they don't seem to, those so-called McAlberts or the McAlbert clan, when you see them, they don't seem to be very respectful of women, do they? I don't see it. And everybody around them likes to shoot the bird. I guess that's how you say when you're upset with somebody, you just shoot the bird. I have a lot of different thoughts on the behavior of those men in that town, but um, if it wouldn't have been for John O'Keefe, nobody would know what's going on. Nobody. So, so sad that somebody had to die for this, right? So since he had to die for it, people aren't going to stop screaming. They're going to keep screaming. John O'Keefe didn't die in vain. Karen Reed hasn't suffered in vain. That's the outcome that we need here. We just need a few people in Massachusetts to have the balls to roll in, put them in what is it? Is it receivership? Clean town. Let's get it going. Let's see if it happens. It hasn't happened yet. Y'all just keep on ignoring it. FBI will come in and clean it up for you all. I have no doubt because you people have got the most corrupt law enforcement going. I mean, mm, I just get mad. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say good night. If I decide to do any more reading tonight, I probably won't do another live. It is 1:30. I'll be up a couple more hours. I don't know if I'll be researching or what, but I hope y'all have a great day. And my person's monkey, I certainly hope you get to feeling better. And I hope that I remember to call the DOJ tomorrow. I wonder which notebook I wrote that in. Y'all stay safe wherever you are. I know people in Florida and wherever Helene, I wanted to call her Helena because of Helena Rafferty. But that hurricane, she's not looking good, y'all. She's not looking good. So prayers for the people in Florida. Um, I am trying to think. I need to get an email address for my channel. And I'm not going to say my email address because of all the Karen Reed haters, but and I don't know how to do a private chat. I'm trying to think. Um, hmm. I signed up on Discord. Are you on Discord? But I don't know how to use it, so I'm so sorry, my person's monkey. I was supposed to get Ernie Birdie was going to help me figure out some stuff because I know I need to have that. And I'm trying, once I put it out there. hmm I'm trying to think. I'll tell you what, best I can do is just make a comment to me because I do read my comments. Make a comment on this video, and we'll just keep commenting to each other until we're both online, and I can hop on here at any time. And um, think I can go into a private thing. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that, but I'll get better. I'm so sorry. I just don't right now. Not that people can't find me, but one wrong person wants to irritate me. It's not me. It's just that I got a full house of a family, so I try to keep them out of they don't even know what I do. They're like, "Whatever, Nana, you done lost it." So my camera seems like it's gone blurry. I don't know. It's funny, it's not blurry there and it's blurry there. Do I look blurry? Making myself dizzy. Okay, everybody. I may be it's tomorrow. What is today? Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. I don't know. You never know when I'm gonna thank you so much. I appreciate it, my person's monkey. So I keep thinking when my grandson and I went shopping today, I had this um I guess I had gotten a knot in one of my hair and I kept pulling and we're walking along and I'm just pulling as I'm rolling and rolling thinking, man, how many hairs got in this knot? Because I sure I'm walking through the office depot just to rolling up my white hair up in my hand. If y'all wonder what I'm doing, I'm trying to find my house shoes. Mm. I take one out underneath and I take one out on the side. So all right, everybody, y'all take care, and I'll see what else I can come up with. But I, I do feel that I am going to delve a little bit into what's going on with Aiden Kearney because um, it does fall into line with Karen Reed so much, and they've even tried to get them as in cahoots. But the saddest thing of all is the stuff going on with Aiden Kearney. Um, these these inept officers have spent more resources, more time, and more money on rubber ducks and on trying to check on intimidated people. What are you doing, Sassy? What you doing? That's my sassy girl, y'all. She has a little face like a fox. What are you doing? Did you wake up? Usually she's not in here when it's just me. She must be tired. The boxer must be upstairs. So that's my girl. Anyway, I will see y'all later, and yeah, God bless you all, and y'all stay safe, okay? Stay safe, whatever you do. Be good, be true. Just be a good you. That's easy to do. I didn't mean to sound like a rhyme, but that was really just be you. Bye, everybody.